purposes only. I will never tell you what to do with your trades or investments, as I am not a financial advisor. Any and all content provided by me contains my own speculative opinion on the market. As such, this content should not be used to make trading or investment decisions. The market is extremely volatile, and the decisions you make should be based on your own due diligence. If you should make a trade or investment decision based off the speculative content that we provide, this disclaimer legally relinquishes me from any and all responsibility. Past market performance is not indicative of future market results. Trading in any market is extremely risky, and you should conduct your own research and analysis prior to making trading decisions. And we are back, baby. Welcome back. Well. Happy Monday. I hope everybody enjoyed their weekend. For me, it was a little bit of a longer weekend because of my car troubles, but longer weekend nonetheless. Again, I hope everybody had a good weekend. I hope everybody is happy. Welcome to the channel. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tick that little bell. Just trying to grow as a YouTuber and spread the knowledge and spread the wealth and spread the happiness and joy and so on and so forth. But for today, we're just going to stick to the analysis, and we're going to go ahead and start with Mr. NASDAQ here. NASDAQ closing on new all-time highs yesterday. Did we hit a fib target? Yes, we did, actually closing slightly above that fib target here at the 1.414 Fibonacci extension level. I do believe that does provide the new basis that an extension all the way up to the 2.272 could be the next goal for NASDAQ here at around $15,500. Again, now that... Oh, I just moved my whole... How did it move? I just moved my whole... Did I move my whole shit? I did move my whole shit. Well, shit. I don't know how that happened. I don't know how that happened. Let me go ahead and fix this buddy right here. I don't know how it moved. I didn't select it to be moved. Where did I have that? I'm all sorts of jacked up. Yep, there we go. All right. So what was I saying? Yes. The basis that we could see extension to the 2.272 Fibonacci extension level is now valid, in my opinion. Again, with the daily candle closure above that 1.414 here, continuing to extend further and further to new all-time highs. Stochastics proving very much so. Looking for... just barely printing new highs on RSI. I'd like to see the exponential continue and doing the same thing, but as I've said before with the stochastics, I mean, again, there's, in my opinion, no such thing as overbought or oversold, so long as stochastic remains in that overbought territory, without crossing the threshold to the downside alongside declining price action. I'm not going to be convinced of any major decline for NASDAQ. I'm actually going to continue to look for new all-time highs until proven otherwise. Now, with that said, this here is our last low, right around 13,935.50. And we haven't based a low since. We've been just traveling onwards and upwards as a result, continuing this bull run for NASDAQ here. NASDAQ is clearly the front runner, the leader for traditional stock markets right now, and more all-time highs. More all-time highs is what I'm looking for. Now, a pullback, not out of the question. Again, we actually want to be prepared for significant pullbacks, even all the way to the red 10 simple. Could be a possibility for NASDAQ coming into the next few days, maybe into next week. That would not be out of the question to see another higher low being kind of foreshadowed, maybe being set on the red 10. Even a little lower to the yellow 21 would not be out of the question. So long as we're closing candles above this low here, around 13,935. We're always in the context of potentially seeing a higher low printout on NASDAQ. As long as the structure looks like this, I have no reason to be bearish here. Closing above all major moving averages, that's a check. RSI continuing its bullish run to the upside, that's a check. Exponential remaining very, very positive, that's a check. And again, with my trend lines being completely jacked up, I don't know what's going on with TradingView, but every time I log into TradingView here on my home PC, my trend lines are all sorts of jacked up, the diagonal ones. But again, holding that long-term uptick structure here, looking like it wants to finally break into the bullish control zone. I do like that we printed a new high here. Again,
A little weak in momentum, to be quite honest with you. I'd like to see some oomph in the RSI movement alongside price action, but what we're being given is enough to be profitable. So for right now, again, a little bit of a rejection of the bottom side of the bullish control zone. Back testing that positively sloped exponential would be something that I would look for again on new all-time highs being printed for NASDAQ. Again, I have no reason not to think a pullback wouldn't be a result of this absolutely near vertical formation here. And it just keeps stair-stepping its way up. So, you know, as it stair-steps its way up, I'm looking at this as the stair where I'm looking for the next step. And the next step could potentially be down. Or, you know, I could be full of shit and we could just, you know, start seeing our extensions to new all-time highs even today. But, again, you have to prepare for both sides of the coin when looking at these types of things. And I think that's where I'm going to leave NASDAQ here. Let's go ahead and move on to SPY futures here. New all-time highs. New all-time highs again. New all-time highs again. But this one on a lot less momentum. We do see RSI starting to curl over a little bit. Again, looking for a little bit of a back test of that positively sloped exponential. I don't like this because it's not in strength here. And the reason why I say that is because it's just a tell that this move to the upside, while powerful at first, is starting to wane on momentum. The momentum is starting to decrease, and we're meeting the 1.272 Fibonacci extension level with some resistance here. Now, technically, did we break that? You could argue the yes, or you could argue no. Right now, close enough is close enough, and I'm kind of looking at this region as resistance right now. We did, yeah, technically we closed above, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to say that we're meeting it with resistance right now, seeing a little bit of a pullback as a result in today's candle, you know, hitting that 1.272 here. Again, we do see RSI. Again, RSI is a momentum oscillator. We do see RSI starting to curl over a little bit, showing a little bit of weakness here in the bullish, or excuse me, the bearish. Damn it, I was right the first time. The bullish neutral zone, and looking like it wants to start creeping back down. I don't like this because if this prints as a high, we likely get another drive of bearish divergence that forces price action a little bit lower once again. Again, correlating with this high here printing, this would be a lower high on RSI in correlation with a higher high on price action, and a top call would print that bearish divergence call here, and I would look for that to play out all the way back down to this region here, very possibly at the prior all-time high breakout point, 4250. I'll pull back to that region, even a little bit lower to the red 10 symbol would not be out of the question for this asset. Again, I'm just looking for levels to the downside if we see this asset pull back. But for now, you know, that's kind of my worry, is that this one might be ready to pull back. Could we extend to new all-time highs? Yes, and I would be looking for more all-time highs upon seeing you know, a fuller body candle closure above the 1.272 Fibonacci extension level. That'd be right around 4280 even. Where did this close? We closed, yeah, see, technically we closed $2 above that Fibonacci extension level here. Now, could it be adjusted? I am going off a wick here. Yeah, see, if we play with the candle bodies here, we actually did get a confirmed closure above the 1.272 Fibonacci extension zone, which would actually bring that target a little bit lower, probably about $5 lower, right around 42.75-ish region. We did see a full candle closure above that region. So if you were using candle bodies with your Fibonacci extension levels here on this one, you know, either one could be looked at as valid. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do this. I particularly use the wick here for this extension zone, and it did meet up pretty nicely with resistance. Or you could use the candle body here on this prior low, this major prior low right here, to get the bias that we did close above the 1.272. Again, there's no right way to use it. There's no right or wrong way to use it. It's all based off of your perspective and what price action is doing here. So for SPY futures, I'm looking for a little bit of a pullback, maybe a little bit of bearish divergence to start playing out here. And if we don't see that, I am going to be looking for more all-time highs as a result of this structure here. So good on you, SPY, but it is looking a little weak. So we'll move on to Dow Jones, see what that bad boy's doing. Top. Oh boy. Oh boy. Now this is where we get a little bit concerned for Dow Jones here. Now, is this top a death sentence? Is this bearish divergence a death sentence? No, it's not a death sentence. I'm not looking at it as a death sentence until at least we close a candle below 34,200 on a daily candle closure basis. With that condition being met, I would look for extension all the way back down to this region here at 33,800, which would fully confirm the top, in my opinion. Even though the top is printed here, it's not out of the question to see potential, consolidation, maybe a higher low print before this continues onwards and upwards. But the fact that this flashed as a lower high is concerning for the trend overall here. Again, we are in the precipice of an uptrend. We did see this lower low print on Dow Jones all the way at the Cyan 89. A nice reaction off of that. Failed to continue even any further higher right now, meeting this resistance here. Could actually go ahead and move that level up. Meeting this resistance, printing a lower high, not good. RSI exponential is back to a positive slope, but it is waning. It is weak. We do have that top call looking for a potential drive to the downside here. If this RSI breaks through the exponential and the middle of the neutral zone here, I will look at the rejection of this zone back to the downside, and a full test of this diagonal uptrend line wouldn't be out of the question here. Now, again, this is a 2-point, I don't put too much validity on 2-point trend lines here. I'd rather see 3 touches, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to use it anyway, and I'm going to say that it is valid until proven otherwise. Again, I have given you my conditions to the downside. Let's talk about to the upside. If this decides to print a higher low structure anywhere above the yellow 21, even above the green 55, wouldn't be out of the question here. A higher low structure is what we're looking for any kind of bullish continuation to new all-time highs. And right now, the condition for that would be any kind of daily candle closure above 34,450. If that condition is met, I will extend upside targets for myself to the 34,800 all-time high resistance. And that would be as far as I'm willing to push it. We do see stochastics still taking off with momentum, so there is a little bit of hopium for the bullish perspective here, escaping the bearish control zone. That much is very much confirmed. Back above the midpoint for the stochastics here, back above the 50 read. Not a bad signal. Looking at a little bit of bullish momentum here. But I need to see continuation. I need to see this not continue further to the downside. And if it does continue further to the downside, it's going to be a little concerning for the structure overall. Again, I would look at this as a lower high. And if you're a more aggressive trader here, we have one lower low and one lower high already. That would be, for me, a little bit of an indication that, hey, the trend is looking at different behavior here. This would be a change of behavior if this is to continue to confirm as a top, again, with that one condition, breaking the yellow 21. 34,200 is what I'm looking for to the downside. Any closure below that region coming into today or tomorrow, and I'll be looking at this as a fully confirmed top, and that will be a lower high in the possible sleuths of even more lower highs to come for this asset. I'm not saying it's overall mad bearish right now. It's just something to look out for. It's just something to say, hey, we do have a little bit of a change of behavior here, printing a lower high structure. Again, if it doesn't continue to the upside, it's going to gain more and more strength from my own analysis standpoint that this is a lower high, and I'm going to be looking for targets even potentially lower than this Cyan 89 low here that we saw print on the 18th of June. But that's a little hindsight trading. Right now, I'm looking for more follow through. Anytime I get a high call, that could easily be negated with a reversal back above this resistance here. But for now, I'm going to be looking for follow through to the downside, and if that is confirmed, we'll have a legitimate lower high for this asset. We're going to go ahead and move on to Dixie here. Yeah, oh yeah, there we go. There's your higher low structure here. This has been confirmed as a lower high, or excuse me, a higher low, and I will be looking for continuation as a result to this resistance level here. It is a wick-based resistance, maybe a couple of candle bodies here, but resistance nonetheless is what I'm looking at. Right around 92.16. Give or take a couple pennies, That's where I'm going to look for price action for this asset to go to coming into the next few days. We do see RSI still gaining momentum, that exponential still positive, and we're riding it as support as price action continues to go up. Now, this little bit of movement here from an RSI, yeah, you could argue that it's a little weaker, but we're seeing price action continue to the upside, and we do have a higher low printed, so I'm going to give more points to the bullish perspective here than not. Again, this does not change my, what's the word I'm looking for? This does not change my mind on the fact that this is still long-term bearish. And that is not my opinion. That is a fact. We do see this this structure here has been coming down for quite some time. I'm not going to get into it. If you've been watching the streams, you know exactly what I'm going to say. It has been downtrending ever since, and the fact that this printed as a high here could still prove to be a lower high, a structural lower high in a sleuth of lower highs that were confirmed in the past by this asset, and downside targets for that would still remain all the way down here long term, right around 89 spot 30. Not going to get into that. What I am going to get into though is the structure overall. What do we see? Exponentials. I like their green 55 gaining momentum. I do like that a lot. What is stochastics telling us? Cross back up. Rejection of the top side of the bullish control zone would confirm if we see an entry back into the critical zone. That would be a very powerful, very beautiful, and very juicy read for this asset here. Maintaining structure above all moving averages except for the blue 377. I do have to go on the side of the bullish side here and look for extension back up to 92 spot 15 unless we close back below 91 spot 88, and if that condition is met, I'm just going to be looking for this range to continue playing out. For now, again, this is kind of the level, the range low here that we're looking at if we're going to be looking for conditions for downside movement here. 91 spot 68, any closure below there, I would look for pullbacks all the way to the yellow 21 moving average or this prior high here, right around 91 spot 30. But am I looking for that? To be quite honest with you, no. I'm actually going to be looking for continuation on this. I think that's where I'm going to leave Dixie here for now. I don't want to get into too much long-term analysis as far as that one's concerned. It's a bunch of the same old shit that I've been talking about for the past few weeks here now. Going on to Bitcoin, let's see what we have here. The range has become tighter. The overall range in my opinion is still at play. We haven't seen that major breakdown just yet. We're actually seeing this support level here at 31,575 hold true. A little bit of a double bottom. Two drives of bullish divergence playing out weak. RSI is telling me that those moves are really weak. This RSI structure, if you've been watching for the past couple of weeks, you've been knowing that I've been saying that this RSI structure is just proving that any upside momentum we see is very weak right now. We don't see that explosive, powerful movement to the upside that we've seen in the past here for the bullish uptrend for Bitcoin here. For now, consolidation. I'm still looking for consolidation sideways. Maybe I'm still on the side of a little bit to the downside again because we're still seeing failure to see candle closures above the top side of this micro range that we are starting to play out right now. Any candle closure above 34,650, I would have to say it's safe to assume the next target would be around 37,480. Go ahead and mark that off real quick. To bring that into light. Now I got a lot of horizontal support and resistance here. My chart is a little bit convoluted, but I'm looking at every possible scenario that I can possibly muster up for this asset right now, as it is a little bit what do you want to say, choppy, consolidation, rangy. If you're playing options and you're playing the range, good on you. Again, these are areas that I'm not comfortable with trading. I'd rather trade the breakout. I'd rather trade the big move, and the big move is not in sight quite yet. We do see stochastics waning off a little bit. Again, this is a little concerning. Yeah, the exponential is positive, but we do see that the way the stochastics is reacting on this upside movement tells me that the momentum needed to achieve the move here has been weaker than moves in the past. So still weak in my opinion, still looking at potential downside, but for now I'm going to be looking for range continuation, and if this upside resistance here 34,650 breaks, I will still come to you with the same disposition that I think the overall range is going to continue. The major level, if we're looking for a massive bull run, is all the way up here, right around 40,500, and we're nowhere near that price action right now. And we do see this death cross is finally starting to diverge further and further and further away. So a break above this region would lead me to believe that a possible pump up to test that green 55 right around 39,275 would not be out of the question. Again, the conditions for a death cross here is is that you see the death cross initiate on that downside price action movement, and then you see the death cross diverge further and further away, and then at some point you're going to see price action pull in to that death cross, and if it's to be confirmed as a death cross, it will reject and force price action further down, forcing the exponentials to diverge further and further apart. So we do have that on our radar. That is still very much in play. It has not been negated and will not be negated until at least we close above the purple 200 moving average here, and see continuation to the upside as a result. But for now, any price action up to the upside, I'm going to be looking at with resistance goggles to be met. Again, as that death cross is a little concerning for me, and it will become more concerning for me if we see price action pull into it and it fail and come back down to the downside. So for Bitcoin, I'll lay out a couple of conditions one more time just to be on the very transparent side. Any candle closure above this resistance here, 34,650, which we are testing heavily right now. I will look for extension to this zone here, but overall, likely a move to that death cross would be likely. And then we wait, and then I wait to see how that death cross reacts. Now, to the downside, if we go ahead and just decide to come down and we break below 31,530, 31,540, give or take $50, I'm going to be looking for more extension to the downside right around this region, 30,500, and likely more. But this still is the last critical level for Bitcoin. We are still above that last critical level, above what? 30,000, yeah, 30,500. That target to the downside, if the lower end of the range is broken, is still the last critical target I'm looking for this asset to turn completely bearish long term. If we see daily candle closures below 30,400, 30,500, I'm gonna go absolutely bear Jesus on everyone. Because I'm going to be looking for targets much lower. Again, these support levels to the downside for Bitcoin, very soft, and I say that not lightly. Fucking soft as hell, right? We don't have that much price action history putting validity into this as potential support. So while we do have a couple candles there, visual that allows me to put this level here, that does not give it strength, and even more so to the downside here. Again, we see a couple of tests to this region here before that breakout in the past. Only a few levels hold validity to this support level here. So any real significant decline much further to the downside, I'm going to be looking at these levels with softness in my heart. I am not going to be looking at them to hold at all whatsoever. So obviously bounces along the way if that happens, if those conditions are met to the downside. But hindsight trading is 2020. I'm not looking for that just yet. I'm just looking at this range. So we're going to leave Bitcoin at that. We're going to go ahead and move on to the requests here. Some of them are repeats of last time. BBIG. We're going to go ahead, and Corey wants Vinco Ventures Incorporated. Let me get some of this water here. Ooh. Let me see here. That bad boy's 3 liters. Can you believe it? It's a heavy mud trucker, but it keeps all my water in. All right, so go ahead and looking at Venco. What do we see here? Let me take a look here. We're getting a lot of these reversal style candles. It's looking real choppy, to be quite honest with you. We do see momentum decreasing to the downside. I don't remember the last time I did an analysis on this, but here, here's a perfect example of that negative exponential working as resistance here. We do see a little bit of a pump up here. Got rejected, and I do believe this is our last high. Is it? Yeah, it is our last high here. Continuing to the downside. Now, the premise that we could see a higher low structure form out here on this formation here wouldn't be out of the question. It's still valid so long as we're above this support level at 3.90, give or take a few cents. As long as we're above that region here, the premise of setting a higher low is still very valid, but I need to see continuation at least back above the red 10 simple before I'm convinced of a higher low structure here. Now, from an RSI perspective, that bearish divergence is still playing out. See a little bit of weakness from the downside pressure here starting to play out, but that does not mean the downside pressure isn't still there. The exponential is negative, and it is looking to cross that upside diagonal structure that I have printed here. Death sentence? No. But the fact that we have a lower high here tells me that we could potentially be seeing a little bit of a downtrend start playing out. Now, the condition for that to be fully confirmed from my perspective would be a close below this region here, below this prior low, $3.95. We'll go ahead and say $3.95. We'll round it up for numbers' sake here and say $3.95. Any candle closure below there, and I will be convinced that this is a downtrend. And per classical technical analysis rule, it is a downtrend. Your first lower high, your first lower low, that's your tell that there's a change of behavior and a downtrend is likely to ensue. If we do close below this region, a pullback all the way to this prior high, right around 3.70 would be my next target to the downside. And if we break that region, yeah, this is our next level here, right around 2.85 would be the target if this region here were to break below 3.70, maybe 3.72, 373, something like that, somewhere in that ballpark. If we print a newer low, especially in that region, I'm going to be fully convinced that we're looking at a downtrend here for this one. Again, our stochastics really giving you that tell, with your high here followed by a lower high and another lower high. Could be a downtrend. Bearish divergence too being identified on the stochastics. But yeah, for now, again, I'm looking for the red 10 simple for this one to break. If that condition is met, then maybe we see an extension all the way back up to 4.90. But again, getting this lower high, I'm going to be looking at that region with resistance goggles, because if we print a second consecutive lower high, that'll be enough, even without the lower low. That'll be enough to convince me of a downtrend. And if we break the yellow 21 to the downside, I am going to be looking for this region to be tested right around 394, possibly even lower. And if we get a new low, downtrend will be confirmed. That's how I'm looking at Mr. BBIG. We'll move on to the next one here, IVR. What is that one? Investco Mortgage Capital. Consolidation still. What the hell happened to that red 10 here? Still consolidating. I don't like this doji style candlestick. It is indicative of potential reversal. We do see stochastics here. Real fresh cross to the downside. Yeah, exponential is positive, and we could see a little bit of coiling action within this region, the bullish neutral zone. But we got across, and I have to take that with a grain of salt. We do see RSI not crossing, still holding that positively sloped exponential as support here, but I don't like the top call. That is a lower high being confirmed here. Oh boy, yeah, lower high is confirmed, which gives me the premise that further pullback to this low here wouldn't be out of the question. But again, we're still within this range here, and as long as we're in this range, I'm going to be calling for more consolidation and more consolidation. Same two levels apply. I'm looking at, for the upside, 4.21 to break, and if that condition is met, where's my next target? It would be this region here. It'd be a soft target, but it would be this region here, right around 4.32. Maybe I would look at that one a little more as the breakout point, to be quite honest with you. Where would my next... See, and this is why choppy charts are a real pain in the ass for me, because it's hard to identify what's support and what's resistance. Maybe this level? Call that a top? Boom. All right, that's valid. Okay, so I would say if we break the top side of the range, an extension to this resistance here at 432 wouldn't be out of the question, but I'm looking at 432 as the breakout point. Any kind of candle closure above $4.32, I'm going to be looking for extension all the way back up at about $4.93, maybe even $5. But I need to see momentum oscillators react in the same fashion here, because the evidence that's being shown to me basically tells possibly we see the lower side of the range break at some given point. We do see RSI again really starting to weaken out here in the bullish neutral zone. We do see RSI really weakening out in the same region as well, with an actual fresh confirmed cross to the downside. Any downside price action below that support at $4 likely pushes momentum the other way, and I would be looking for targets here right around this region. Right around this region, $3.62 is the next target to the downside. Again, if the condition of the bottom side of the range breaking is met, that's kind of where I'd be looking to the downside. And I think that's where I'm going to leave Mr. IVR, Investo Mortgage Capital. Some of these stocks I have a hard time with because I don't look at them. MLSS. Milestone Scientific Incorporated. Oh! Okay, this is obviously one of those charts that doesn't have history. This looks like some kind of a little bit of a V formation here. This was your change of behavior point. Seeing a pullback to this region here, not a bad thing. I would actually put a little bit of a low here, and I would put a little bit of a low here, and a little bit of a low here. So we are on a higher low structure and a higher high structure. This is an uptrend. You know, this could have been an argument in the past, but obviously that little region was negated here. Let's go ahead and zoom in and look at current price action and see what we got. Nice powerful move up yesterday. 620 for Friday, 625, closing on a reversal style candlestick, long-legged doji, or yeah, maybe more of a spinning top, closing below that cyan 89 moving average. Again, not a death sentence. A move like this automatically makes me assume that a little bit of a pullback is to be expected, but I am going to go on the side of possible continuation here, being most likely. Why? Look at that fucking momentum. Anytime I look for upside moves, I look for momentum here. Stochastics printing that very, very beautiful picture. Nice little 2-point uptrend here for Stochastics. Is that valid? No, not really. I'm looking for 3 touches, but for the sake of argument, I'm going to put it into play. Yeah, continuation past the the bearish control zone into the bearish neutral zone, gaining momentum. Again, the only thing I don't like is that doji style candlestick closure, indicative of a potential reversal, and I don't like the fact that it has a longer up shadow than it does a down shadow. The longer up shadow shows a lot of sell pressure here within this one, but again, still carrying a lot of momentum, and that sell pressure seemingly on very low volume. Obviously significant volume above the average, but way less than this huge pump to the upside here. RSI, nice little tell here, forcing that exponential back to a positive slope. Again, a little bit of a pullback. Wouldn't be out of the question here. When was our last low? Last low being printed here. Last low being printed here. Even pulling back to the blue 377 wouldn't be out of the question. Yellow 21, red 10, none of those pullbacks would be out of the question if you're looking for a potential high or low structure. But for now, this looks like a breakout. It has printed a new high. There is evidence of a change behavior on a daily time frame. But if I'm looking for a pivot point, it's this one right here. Any closure back above $3.04. I will look for extension all the way up to this region here at about $3.50. And pullback levels. Maybe I can look at this area as potential support right here, $2.23. Yeah, pull back to that region would not be out of the question. Any candle closure below that region, I'm going to be looking at that kind of pullback as full-blown reversal, and this would just be either a fake out or a bull trap. Here, trying to shake out all the bulls and include more bears here. That would be very evident if we got a swift pullback below $2.25. And I would be looking for more extension if that condition is met back to $2. But am I looking for that? No, not really. That's a nice powerful move. Oh, well, we've seen that powerful move happen before. And this was just a little bit of a bull trap here. Again, that nice pump up here, testing a little bit of a resistance. Boom, downtrend continuation as a result. Typically, when you see this kind of move, without breaking a key critical level, it's likely due to a potential bear trap in formation, correlating with another lower high. This could potentially be another lower high in the grand scheme of the entire structure here, but we do have a high here that we've taken out. Very, very, very powerful move back above most of the moving averages, playing around with that cyan 89 just a little bit. I'm gonna go on a limb and say, from my perspective, looking a little more bullish. I do want to see how this one plays out. A little continuation is likely after this kind of a move to the upside. Again, any type of move to the upside with that much momentum is the kind of move that I'm looking for. So that's where we're going to leave Milestone Scientific. Let's move on. Wish. Continuation. Continuation, but still playing. No, this isn't continuation at all. Just stair-stepping, putting a lot of pressure. See? This is where I look for breakouts here. We're putting a lot of pressure on that cyan 89. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days on rising wicks, rising candle bodies, forcing pressure on that cyan 89 moving average. Again, I don't want to give everybody hopium for this asset, because again, any analysis that I provide on this kind of asset that's like brand spanking new, I don't even hold confidence in. Why? Because It doesn't have history, and technical analysis is based on price action history. Give me 1 second here. But given what I'm given here, per my own classical technical analysis rule, we're putting a lot of pressure on that Cyan 89. The more stabs up towards it that we see initiate, the more convinced I'm going to be of potentially breaking out of that region. If we do break out of that Cyan 89 moving average here, I will be looking for extension to new highs. I would actually look for that pivot point to be broken 15 spot 40 over the next few days. RSI is still climbing, growing exponentially here. Gaining divergence between the exponential and the RSI is a good sign here. Breaking back into the bullish neutral zone, and that was initiated a few days back for the exponential. Nice little bounce tick. Again, I'm looking for continuation. I'm looking for that Cyan 89 to break. And if we break it and close above 15 spot 40, I will extend upside targets to this resistance level here, right around 17 spot 50. Nice, decent little juicy move. Stochastics still proving upside momentum here. Printing new highs, actually. Printing new highs. Now, what would be a little concerning is seeing a lower high print in conjunction with higher highs printing on stochastics. That would be a little bit of hidden bearish divergence from my perspective. And while I don't play with hidden divergences too much, this one's actually pretty obvious. Again, if we do reject and print a lower high, that one would be very, very obvious here, which is why I'm looking at this with a lot of caution, because again, it doesn't have that much history. I can't even be positive. I can't be positive in my own analysis given that it doesn't have that much price action history. But to the upside, we see a lot of gaining volume, still closing above the moving average here. Very, very, very telling that we're putting a lot of pressure on that Cyan. And if that Cyan 89 moving average breaks to the upside, in my opinion, it's likely to be very, very powerful. Now, if we reject, print a lower high, the next target's going to be the green 55, maybe even this support level at 11 spot 80. And that's kind of where I would leave that one to the downside, as I am on the upside, upside hopium for this one. So that's where we'll leave Wish. Let's go on. What's next? 3 more, and then that will be the day. GSAT. Let's see what we got here. Global Star Incorporated. Meeting that resistance. That resistance is lining up with the bottom side of the bullish control zone almost perfectly here, and that's kind of the level that I would look at for continuation to the upside here. Any closure above $2, I'll extend targets to the upside to 2 spot 55. Again, RSI, giving you that signal of momentum here. A break above that region likely is powerful in my opinion. We do have a lot of divergence, which could be the reason why we're seeing RSI react in a very weak manner here. But the exponential is positive. We got a nice little low call here. And for now, I'm going to be looking for continuation. Again, stochastics here, carrying that momentum to the upside. I want to see a reaction. I want to see a break on decent volume, above average volume. For me to be convinced of upside continuation. We do see volume starting to wane out a little bit. And could that be a little bit of a sign that the bulls are losing momentum? It very well could, and if we do get another top call here and break this region here to $1.64, this likely comes down to this level here at about $1.35. Now, that wouldn't be out of the question given the momentum here to see a higher low potentially print at that region, but any break below $1.35 is going to throw all of those cards off the table, as the next target would be the prior low right around one spot 13. We'll just say $1.15. For layman's sake here, for the sake of ease. For the sake of ease. But for now, kind of the same thing. I am still looking for, not consolidation, continuation. Could we see consolidation? Yes. Could we see momentum oscillators cool down? Yes. Could we see a breakdown? Yes. Could we see a breakout? Yes. All of those are possibilities, but for now, I'm looking at these. I'm looking at these levels, still kind of playing out. And again, a little bit of a spinning top is a sign for concern, in my opinion. Spinning tops again are indications of indecision and potential reversal to come. That, alongside with rejecting the breakout point here, the potential breakout point, the resistance at $2, alongside RSI rejecting the bottom side of the bullish control zone, all point to potential downside price action here. And in correlation with Momentum still looking bullish on both sides. You know, there's also points for the bullish perspective. So what I would say is pay attention to those levels extremely closely, and I'll highlight them again. One spot 64 to the downside would be the condition to be met for more pullbacks, more pullback action to the green 55 or at around $1.35. And on the other side, I would be looking for $2 to break if I'm going to extend my targets all the way up to $2.50. And that's kind of where I'm going to leave that one here. This one's actually bad as fuck, dog shit. If I remember right, this is the really choppy sideways pump and dump consolidation. So, you know, take it with a grain of salt. You know, this could just as easily reverse to the downside as it is, you know, moving to the upside. So as far as that one's concerned, that's where we're going to leave it. AHT is the next one. See, same thing. We could be seeing downside continuation here, but we don't have a top call. If we break this support level at $4.95, that top call likely activates, and we see this uptrend, this long-term uptrend diagonal trend line here break to this to the downside. Exponential is negative, and it has acted as resistance and is confirmed as resistance. Unless we see reversal, stop and reversal, and break above that region, I'm going to be looking at that as confirmed resistance. Now, I know we got this bullish divergence call, but that bullish divergence call played out real fucking pitifully, in my opinion. You know, closing back above the yellow 21. Yes, we still remain above the yellow 21, a point for the bulls, but we see a little bit of downside price action rejecting that negatively sloped exponential. And typically when we see across the RSI below that exponential, especially below the bullish control zone here, and we see that exponential start to gain negative momentum, that is my tell that the momentum is negative, that the bears likely have control here. And unless we see a flip and a structure hold as support and continuation as a higher low, like a structural higher low. Now technically this printed a lower low in conjunction with this low here, so there is an argument to say, hey, we are already in a downtrend from an aggressive standpoint, and if this confirms as a lower high, that will confirm it for me. Again, I'm more of a conservative trader, and I look for, you know, more confirmation than just one lower low, but a lower high after printing a lower low would be enough for me to consider this a downtrend, and I would be looking for downside price action movement as a result. So for now, pay attention to the following: the yellow 21, any closure below there, and likely we see a target of $4.51, and anything below that will convince me of a downtrend being confirmed. On the flip side, any closure back above $5.65, give or take a few cents, and I'll be looking for extension to the prior high resistance at 7.27, give or take a few cents, 15, 20 cents, give or take. We do see stochastics diving deeper into that oversold territory, that bearish critical zone. And we could easily see this start maintaining control and coiling around in this region. For me to be convinced of a strong buy signal, I need to see the stochastics cross above the exponential, force the exponential back to a positive stature, continuation into the bearish control zone. That's going to be my tell of a potential buy here for this asset. But for now, be caution. Be cognitive of those levels and how the momentum oscillators react as a result. Again, any closure below the yellow 21 is going to confirm as a top, and that will confirm a downtrend from my perspective. And that's looking at AHT. Let's look at SNDL, and that will call it for the day. Sundials Growers Incorporated. Man, a lot of these stocks are looking very, very, very similar here today. Again, looking at the most important level to the downside, we're looking at 95, we'll just call it 94.5 cents. Any closure below there likely forces price action to test 88.5 cents, but momentum likely carries it further south here. I don't like this top call. This top call confirms it for me. This is not a downtrend. Not a downtrend. It's actually your first tell of a potential downtrend. And now if we take out 88 cents, almost 89 cents, and print new lows, yeah, likely we see a downtrend start to play out. I don't like the moving averages and how tight they are. I don't like price action. Again, this one's actually just fucking... It's been bad for quite some time. We did see this like change of behavior pump to the upside, but that failed. And now we're starting to see, less and less momentum to the upside, and we do see momentum really really starting to play to the downside. But I have to look at the other side of the coin here and say, if we do get a closure above this high here, $1.04, I would look for extension, even more so past this point here, all the way up to this region here at $1.21, assuming we see momentum oscillators, move in the same fashion. But again, the fact that we printed that lower high starting to look a little bit concerning for me here. Gotta be careful with those kinds of signals. Again, just because we're crossed up on the stochastics doesn't mean it's a valid buy point. I need to see momentum, I need to see follow through, I need to see resistance being taken out, I need to see new highs being printed, follow through, yada 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 yada. Any kind of confirmation has to be followed through here. And we got that top call and that little gravestone doji style candlestick here. Man, a lot of sell pressure. That's just evidence of sell pressure, looking like it wants to force price action further to the downside. So again, I'll highlight the critical levels. 94.5 cents will be enough if we get a candle closure below that region for me to extend targets to the prior low, right around 88.75 cents. Anything lower than that will be a downtrend confirmed, and targets will extend all the way down to 77 cents. On the flip side, any closure above $1.08 to $1.10, I will be looking for extension to $1.21, assuming that momentum oscillators do what I needed to see them do. And I think I will leave that one. And I think that's going to wrap up the stream, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that came through, watch the stream, I'm glad you're here. Thank you for being here. I'm not trying to be a clout chaser, but I have to expand my channel at least a little bit. If you did like the videos, please like the video. Please hit the subscribe button. Please tick that little bell. If you didn't like it, hit the dislike button. If you want to leave a hate comment, leave a hate comment. Give me any kind of traction. I love all kinds of traction. So, leave your footprint in the channel if you so desire. It would be greatly appreciated. And until next time, guys, again, I hope you enjoyed the video.